Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all our viewers who are joining us on Facebook Live today from different parts of the world, I hope. My name is Reema Bose-Suri, and on behalf of Elders India, I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's fun coffee session. So I'm sure we all know that 14th November is celebrated as Children's Day every year. I want to ask, how many of you know that there is also a National Parents' Day that we celebrate? Yes, on the fourth Sunday of July every year, we celebrate National Parents' Day in India. And I'm sure a lot of us are not familiar with this. So we will be celebrating National Parents' Day this year on 28th of July. And it's not that we need a special day to celebrate our parents. But like we celebrate so many other days, I think having a day dedicated to focusing and celebrating a particular set of people is always great. So today we are wanting to celebrate and honor our parents for the big influence that they have had on our lives. A lot of us, our parents, our grandparents, our well-wishers tell us about how to bring up our child. But each of us do have our individual styles. But I know that at least young parents like us definitely always discuss and share whenever we are stuck with a dilemma on what do we do. Another thing that we've seen is that on social media, on Facebook, Insta, we see such happy pictures. We see so much of fun, frolic happening all the time in our lives. But there is a question I want to ask. Is that what our lives is all about? There is so much happening behind the scenes in each of our families. And there are conflicts, there are arguments, there are challenges. So today's coffee session is a deep dive a little into those hidden elements also of how to really make that family happy in spite of what we have behind the scenes. So we are going to have two sets of guests today. First pair is here with me today, Neeraja and Sneha Ganesh, the mother and daughter duo. Yes, please bring them on spotlight. Neeraja and Sneha are both known as networking queens, and they have been inspiring and hundreds of women and young girls across the country. I got a chance to meet both of them last year in Bangalore. And it was such a delight meeting this pair and getting to know them a little better. So just a little bit of intro. Neeraja is a TEDx speaker and a keynote speaker at various prestigious conferences, and one of the 40 women featured in the book Magical 40 at 40. She conducts various training programs on leadership and behaviors. Neeraja switched her career to work in the space of gender diversity after a successful career in the information technology industry for 25 years. She also believes strongly in mentorship and is a mentor on platforms like Aspire for Her and 𝐿𝐴. We also have the beautiful young lady, Sneha, who is a graduate with a triple major in maths, stats, and computer science. And currently, Sneha is working as an analyst at MIQ in Bangalore. She's a passionate public speaker since the age of 16 and also a published author of Muskan, the story of her smile. Sneha loves leadership, storytelling, and networking. And at a young age, she's also a successful soft skill and career resource trainer. And also, as you will see shortly, a very fun-loving young lady. Neeraja and Sneha, I'm so delighted to have both of you here. Thank you for taking out time. So I must say that when I met you last year, the vibe that both of you shared, the rapport that both of you shared was so wonderful. And that time that I spent with both of you was so delightful. But I want to ask one thing. So, Neeraja, let me start with you. I have seen both of you online on various occasions, and you do have this amazing rapport and bond. It seems that you have the perfect communication going between the two of you. But what I think I want to know, and I'm sure the audience also wants to know, is what really happens behind the scenes. No, what is the kind of communication that you really have between the two of you? No, is there stomping and banging of doors happening? Typical of many mom and daughter situations. How would you describe your equation?
Sure. First of all, thank you, Rima and Elders India, for having us here. And Rima, this is a question often asked. May not be as a question like this, but people say, "Oh gosh, you must have done some amazing parenting to have a harmony like this between you and your daughter." Okay, but I have to admit, what happens in most households between parents, especially mothers of daughters and children, has happened in our house too, and it continues to. Okay. There has been stomping, there has been banging, and there has been more. Because she is a normal child and I am a normal parent. So let's start there. This is normal. Let's accept it. So we've had a normal relationship. So I remember, you will hear stories, right? So I remember what she said once many years ago. I don't know, Sneha, if you remember this. So I have been a very conservative parent. And one of the things that we did not allow Sneha to have was a phone for many years. Of course, I already feel that she's ancient now because kids get these phones much, much earlier today. But she didn't get a phone till she was 19. So during her school days, there were already WhatsApp groups for the right purposes. Teachers used to give assignments and there was review and feedback, etc. So it used to be on my phone. And then Sneha would use my phone. Either I would look at it or give it to her. And she would have these one-on-one chats also with teachers and friends. And they had these small micro groups of other girls, etc. And once in a while, I would go into those groups and read those conversations. And there was this one conversation where I felt that the girls seemed to be sharing so much that happens in the house, right? And I almost felt that it could be embarrassing for the families if such things start coming out. So I asked Sneha, oh my goodness, you people share so much. Do you also share about what happens in our house? And she said, no, I don't do any of this. In fact, people think that we, like me and the household, my family is like a perfect one where nothing goes wrong. We are like so good. But the reality for me is that in every household, there are going to be these conflicts. There are going to be mother-daughter fights. So I don't think too much about it. If it does not happen, then there seems to be an issue. And that's why I don't discuss what happened in our house versus what's happening in somebody else's house. So really that is the sense that it has been an extremely normal kind of a family setup. We've had our share of fights and conflicts, and it continues. We are very nice people on the screen today, but I'm sure there will be enough and more that goes around. However, I think that is for that occasion. Right? That fight or that conflict or that banging of the door was for that occasion. And there are other occasions when we're perfectly fine. So I think it is important for us to resolve that or, take it outside of whatever else is happening in life and not make it, the way of life. And that's what I would possibly want to, respond here.
Great. Thanks, Neeraja. I don't know if my mother is online because we do seem to have a lot of arguments. And yeah, so the whole idea is for people to understand that, all of this, what we see on screen and in front of others is not really how we all are. We are all normal families. So Sneha, let me ask you then that, in spite of all of that, what do you think helps you and your mother gel so well? Oh, you do so much of work also together. So what is it? What is that secret ingredient that makes you both bond so well?
I think there isn't really a secret ingredient. This is something I figured out as I grew up, and I think it was just basic, just talking about things. So for any relationship to sustain, you need conversation. You need to be able to talk about something. So if you're fighting on the personal front, we're talking about the professional stuff. And if you're fighting on the professional stuff, then we have the personal to talk about. So I think that's just what helps maintain that balance for us. But what enables us to be so good together professionally, I think one is just a shared interest and us realizing. So when I grew up, I've always watched mom as a working woman, as a career professional. And without doubt, I always knew that I would also eventually do that. because I've grown up looking at her do that, and I've never questioned it. My earliest memory of mom is just remembering that she would get me dressed for school. She would make me sit and eat my own food. She would say, I need you to learn to eat on your own, so I'm not going to feed you. She'd make me eat my own food. She'd make me pack my own dabba. She'd make me pack her dabba also, because she didn't do that as well. And then she'll wear a sari and then she'll go into office, and I would come back home to walk up just to see her coming back from office. So I think it's that for me, always knowing that for us, for both of us, career was extremely important. And eventually, as we grew up, to have conversations around career, to have conversations about what interested us, what are the things that we like doing. And then we realized that we had shared interests and shared passions, finding something which will help us do it together. And yeah, I mean, on screen, we're smiling now, but trust me, like 10 minutes after this conversation, we're going to be fighting. You can take it from me. So it's very normal. And on stage, on screen, we're all smiley, but we're very normal behind the screen.
So I'm wondering how much of discussion you had before coming on screen to say, don't say this and don't say that. But
no, nothing at all.
and don't disclose the shared passions and interests, because we have a very interesting rapid fire. So we are going to learn more about how much we know each other really. Yeah, so Neeraja, Sneha mentioned about you working, and you made her independent at a very young age. So let's spend a little time on that, because I think that's again a dilemma with a lot of working women. So you've been a career person throughout. You currently also through your work engage with a lot of young middle-aged women. Like Sneha said that no, she was independent and she was made independent at a very young age. No, how did you, from your end, apart from no really making her independent, what did you do? And also, no, maybe just share some examples of what you would have shared with other women through your sessions on how do they manage this delicate balance between personal and professional life. So we've come a long way, and obviously working women are really there, especially in India. You see all of them. A lot of them are getting supported, but there is still this entire focus on diversity in organizations, especially where women still feel challenged. I would love to hear a little bit about this from you.
Sure. So I will quickly give my tips on, what is work-life integration. These are the tips when I always conduct workshops on this topic, right? So the very first one is prioritize. So I think for those who really want a sorted of life in some ways, have to prioritize. And this cannot be a list of 10, 20, 100. That's a bucket list. The top 3 to 5 priorities. And when I say priorities, it has to be an integrated set of priorities, which means that what do you want to achieve professionally? Say, I want to do some certifications. What do I want to achieve personally? Could be that I want to do up this newly built house, and your own me time has to be there in the top 3 to 5 priorities for whatever period of time. Let's say like 6 months to a year. These are my top priorities. That's the first thing. The second thing is for you to plan and schedule all those tasks which take you closer to achieving those priorities, right? And it has to be in one calendar. It has to be in one integrated calendar. Of course, we all have, our official stuff on the calendar. But how about your personal stuff also in the same calendar? So that, this is the holistic view of my day and my week and maybe even the month. So example, if you want to spend an hour with your child every evening, say between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m., doing homework, doing TV, doing games, whatever, you have to have it in your calendar so that you do not take any official work meetings that may come in during that time. You do not take any personal calls, say your mother's calling or friend is calling during that time, unless it's an exigency, right? You have to respect your calendar and let everyone know that this is, other time. This is my family time. And similarly, at work time, you don't, do personal things. The third, me time is so very important. So take time for yourself. This is most important. Be guilt-free because you've set your priorities, right? So if Sneha packed all her dabbas, and that was one of the stories I was going to give, to say that you need to seek support from everyone, which is the 5th point. But if the rest of the world is packing dabbas for their child, you don't have to feel guilt guilty about that, because in your list of priorities, you have a few other things to achieve, and you're getting that 5 minutes, 10 minutes time to focus on that because you've delegated that work to somebody else and she's happy doing it, or make her happy doing it, right? And finally, seek support from everyone, which means seek support from your children, from your parents, and at work also, you have to learn the art of delegation. You don't have to be a superwoman, right? So yes, Sneha packed 5 dabbas every day, her small box, snack box, and her lunch box. So the cooking was done by my mother-in-law. She loved to be in the kitchen, so she did that. And hence I hate cooking and I can't cook for nuts. But my mother-in-law did that. But how about those 5 dabbas being ready before 7:45 when I stepped out? Okay, Bangalore, like any other big city, heavy traffic on the roads. I had to drop Sneha to school and then I would go to the office, which was 12 to 15 kilometers away from home. So 7:45 in the morning, there's no way I can sit down and have breakfast. So Sneha would have all those 5 dabbas. For me, 5 breakfast, lunch, and there was a snack box because I would come home only by 8:39. So I made her that independent at the very beginning. So much so that today she hates if I pack dabbas, right? And I'm sure it's a good skill for her to have for whatever reason. So that way is how I've kind of managed. And I would really, I mean, if you want to hear more stories and how things are done, come attend my work-life integration session. But this is the thing that I want to tell women. If you choose to have a career while raising a family, be happy, do not regret that. If you choose to take a career break for a few years to take care of your family and then restart, do not regret that, because you will always feel that the other side is better. Maybe I shouldn't have done this, I should have done that, but it's never a fairy tale on the other side, okay? Eventually, it just sorts itself out if you are able to meet your priorities. Like you're seeing Sneha and me here, things will work out.
Thank you. Thank you, Neeraja. That's really some really interesting and quick tips. I think the important one I pick up is the me time, and to not be guilty about the me time, because as women, as mothers, as wives, I think that's something that's the first thing we give up. When there is pressure, there's a lot of work, that's the first thing we give up. So Sneha, I know you said that no, your mother working actually made you more independent, and no, you had decided early on in life that no, you also want to be a career woman. But since we are having a candid discussion, I want to know, there were still, when you were growing up, must have been a time when you felt that she was not around, maybe for a special occasion, or there was something that you really missed, her not being able to do when you were younger. So tell us that those candid moments which you actually felt that, oh, I wish mom was around.
Okay, so I think one thing, like most people who know me would know this, and at least my school friends would know this very well. My mom can't cook. She really cannot cook, and she hates cooking. Like today, I cook better than her because I knew that if I had to eat good food, I might as well cook it for myself. So she really cannot cook. So the one thing that I've actually missed, I think, is just having very interesting things in my dabba all through school. Because I always have my friends bring such variety and different cuisines and like whatnot, and I only had curd rice. For 10 years of my schooling, I've only eaten curd rice. The diversity at max was a different vegetable at times. Otherwise, that also, if I could like draw a pattern, I would know. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, these veggies would come. So that was the only thing I think I've genuinely missed, which is not having interesting food. To a point where, like my friends' parents knew that I didn't have interesting food, and they'd send a bus for me. So I think that was one thing. But apart from that, I don't really think we've missed a lot because like mom said, prioritization has always been key for her as well. So for the time when I was not independent with my studies, she would make sure that she prioritized staying around during my exams and to make sure she was there to help me study. But that also she always did it very intentionally to make sure that I was independent. So she'd tell me how to study so I don't need to have her around. So, I think that way it's just whatever has been done. When we did spend time together, we do it well enough so that we didn't have to keep spending that time together. Like today, I think after grade 6 or so, I would not like it if mom was around when I was studying. Because really just I got into this position where I was so okay doing stuff myself that additional support from her end turned out to be disastrous. I was like, no, I'm good by myself. So I think it was just that for me. And I don't really think I miss anything. And now I don't even miss the food bit of it because I'm like, I'm glad you did cook. So we're good.
So that's what made
So
you
you have
learn
to
how to
cook
cook.
now. And I have to kind of add to this that maybe this is the reason why when she came to 10th grade, and 10th grade is such a big thing in our country, right? For the 3 weeks of exams that she was having, the board exams, I was not there with her because I had herpes and I was at my mother's house and she was by herself and she topped her school. So I think it kind of eventually works out. So I want to tell everyone that do what you want to do and be happy about it.
The children learn and they grow up. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Sneha, for that candid sharing. And I think we're getting some candid sharing here, and the next set, which is going to be a family of four, is going to give their different perspective. Um, so, so I also remember that you had mentioned that during your final year of college, Sneha, you were not staying at home. And Neeraja, while we just talked about how Sneha had become independent and she was doing things on her own, but the fact is that she is also your only child. So, how did your husband and you feel the emptiness syndrome? I know she was nearby. She probably came and met a couple of times during the month. But no, what was different at home? I'm sure there was something that you missed. So, no, what did you feel was the difference, or what did you do differently while she was not away? Because there are a lot of people, and I'm hoping many of them online also, who get this emptiness syndrome, and suddenly there is this vacuum. And while she's now back and staying home, then again she will probably venture off and fly off. So, what was your experience of that year?
Yes, very important question, I think, for most parents, because eventually the children do fly out of the nest. So I have to say, I was devastated when this happened. It was really, really, really bad. And why? Because it was not planned. We didn't know that was going to happen, that she was going to move out. She was in the final year of college. The college is 3 kilometers away from home. So it is not transport commute issues. We are in the thick of the city and the college is in the thick of the city. Things could have worked out from home, is what we thought. And she still chose to walk out of the house and stay away from us for a year. It was extremely difficult. There was a lot of crying, anger, despair, disappointment, and every other emotion that you can think of. Okay. And it lasted for many months, only because we didn't know why. The why was not answered. I don't think the why has been answered now also, but it took me that kind of time to accept it. The acceptance didn't come for the first few months. And then, of course, friends and family. And, I have to give it to the Shri Mantra community, Rima, many of them, because every time I was meeting someone, I'm venting this out. Why did she have to go? Why was I not a good parent and all of that? And then I started hearing others' perspectives. And of course, empty nester syndrome also comes with vacuum, because maybe our lives are just hovering around those children and then suddenly we don't know what to do. That didn't happen for me, because since I made her independent long ago, it wasn't as if I was really hands-on with anything about her. So I had enough that was going on for me professionally. So that was not the issue, but it was just this acceptance of the fact that she chose to move out. And what it has done to me today is what I would say. The realization that I think she took a decision and that she will be responsible for that decision. It took me a while to come to that stage. Well, that's exactly what she told us and went. See, I'm taking a decision and I'm responsible for that and the outcomes that will come with it. But as parents, we always fear, oh my goodness, this can go wrong and that can go wrong. The number of calls I've done to her, called the PG to say, is she back at 10 p.m. or not? Stalked her on Instagram to see where she is. all of that. But today, I think I have to admit, if I've not already told this to Sneha, that I feel in a better place now, because I have realized that I've made her independent. We made her independent. She can make her choices. That's why we make children independent, that, that we are not always there for them. So they are able to take those choices. So if she's taken a decision, she is responsible for the decision, for the outcomes. I can only give her advice. I can only give her insights. And I hope that she will make the right choice. for a good holistic life, but I cannot control it. And so today I am at peace. I have to say I am really at peace. So in many ways, I think it was good that she did that, because we evolved as better people. Not saying parents, we really evolved between us and my husband. We've evolved as better people.
So Sneha, I don't know if she's told you this earlier, but you get to hear it now. So a quick question to you on this, Sneha. So you were busy studying, preparing for your career, with friends in a PG, living an independent life. So at any point in time during then, did you feel that you're missing out on something? I know both, you have a busy life, Neeraja has a busy life. Anything different that you did or special that you did to kind of stay connected, stay in touch at the times that you were not going to be home?
Okay, so I think there were two things that I will that I remember, and I think which is continue to stay till now. So I think one, of course, I was this family group that came into existence, and like every family group is just going to be two people will talk, and the dads will never talk, and there will be this occasional thumbs up that'll come, or this occasional when I taught him to use gifs, there'll be sudden spurts of gifs that are coming out. So that's about all we had, but it was a lot of back and forth, and we got very socially active as a family. Like put my grandmom in that group too, and poor thing, she must be struggling with the spam that my mom and I cause. But I think we just send a lot of pictures of what we're doing in our life. I'd send stuff from university. She'd send stuff of wherever she was. So I think that was one thing that helped us stay connected for sure. And another one, and it's for mom and I think was we started going out to a lot of these conferences together. So even during my college time, if there was like something interesting that was happening around the city, I'd either take a day off or take a half day, or if it was over the weekends, we'd make sure that we did this together. So even though I wasn't going home, we'd still end up spending the whole day together that way, and we'd have these conversations. And we had like a few of these points that enabled us to bond. So my dad's a huge food lover. So for him, it was just to probably go out for food. So like all my food cravings, they come from there. So all the weird stuff that I like eating at odd hours, it's only because of that. So, randomly we'd say, okay, let's go to corner house for ice cream, or we'd go to the bakery and have puff. So this is stuff like this. I think those interests again and things that we knew we liked, we started doing a lot more of that, and that helped us stay connected.
Lovely, lovely. I think that's really interesting. And yes, technology has played such a big role in helping families connect, even if they are not next to each other or staying in the same house. And while I would love to continue asking more questions and getting some more incidences and getting to know you guys better, we also have the Chawla family waiting in the wing. So I'm going to get on to the final portion of our coffee chat, which is going to be the rapid fire.
Okay.
I hope there has been no cheating behind the
I
curtain.
haven't done anything. I'm all good.
Okay, so I'm going to shoot a few questions to you, Neeraja, and Sneha has already shared the answers with me, so we'll know how much you really know her. Okay, so we are going to start with you, Neeraja, and then I want to go over to Sneha.
All right.
Okay, here goes. So, Neeraja, what are Sneha's favorite pastimes? The top 2 or 3.
Okay, I think she does the spoken word. So, she writes poetry and speaks. I think that's one. And she loves speaking. So, yeah, she's forever, looking for opportunities to be on stage. I hope I got that right.
Absolutely. She said that her passion is being on stage, but you missed one. That is trying new food. No, but it's making up all the curd rice she's eaten in all the other days. So she also said that she enjoys new food. Okay, so what is her favorite place to travel to? What kind of a place? Mountains, sea, beach?
I think she'd probably like to go to a beach place, is my guess.
Go to a beach place. You got it right. Yeah. Okay, who's her favorite author? So she's really fond of reading.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's a very difficult one. I know this lady that writes really sad books, and I keep asking Sneha, why do you read sad books? So I'm not getting the name, but Sneha, is that the right one? You know what I'm talking about.
I know her name. Come on, think about it. I'm reading her book right now too.
Yes, Sneha. So who's your favorite author?
Jodi Picoult.
Oh yeah, she writes some really sad stories.
It's not sad. I mean, it is not sad.
Tragedy. Like, why would you go and read tragedy?
Not really. It's an understanding of life's drama and emotions.
So the next to your mother, is what? Yeah? Okay, so Neeta, one thing that Sneha really admires about you.
About me?
Yes?
I'm guessing my saris.
That too. I don't know how many of them she's
That I've already stolen half her closet, so nah, that doesn't count.
Let me hear now.
Neeta says that what she really admires is that you get stuff done. Whatever it may be, knows that mom will get it done. Okay, and one
That's
thing
good.
really bugs her and frustrates her about you.
Yeah, this is a question to
You, Neeta,
Only.
what bugs and
What-
irritates? Yeah, about
Sneha,
Sneha.
about you.
About me,
No, what bugs? No, what bugs me about you?
What?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, the constant follow-up.
Yeah, I think she also says that I think that mom overthinks a lot. So that's something that, oh, good, great. I think that was well spoken.
So we got some 3-4 points.
Set of points. Let's see now whether Sneha does a better job or not. So, Sneha, what is that one thing about you that frustrates your mom the most?
I think there's a lot of it. Like she's frustrated with most of me. So it's probably that sometimes I do things without telling her about it.
Oh, okay, quite close. That you were staying out late without informing her. That's really
I
fun.
knew with that.
Okay, so what is your mom's favorite pastime when she's not working? Or she's forever
Which is
working?
not working.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think off late, I think it's just been trying random stuff on Netflix. And she's been doing a lot of that.
Okay, Neerja, she knows you well. She knows
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
love.
So she'll come around and she'll say, Netflix. Then she'll come around and say, Netflix.
Okay, so what's your mom's favorite food? Food item. What does she love?
That.
Oh, excellent. So today evening you celebrate with a plate of chaat.
Yeah.
And you both have to travel together. And I know Neerja said that it doesn't happen too often because you both have elders at home, so you can't
Yep.
visit them. But if you have to make a holiday plan, what kind of a place would you like to go together?
Yeah, for sure, it's gonna be one with beaches, and it's gonna be something in North India.
So is beach your favorite or your mom's? Because she
See,
also
I love beaches, and
she goes
she
along
doesn't
with
really
you.
have an issue with it, so it just works.
Okay, great. I think that was fun. Sneha, you win this round for sure.
Oh.
Okay, that is really great fun. And now I'm looking at time and I have to say goodbye to you so that we can bring in our next set of guests. Thank you,
Sure.
Neerja. Thank you, Sneha. It was wonderful having you with us. Now, please make sure that you don't have any more fights and arguments after the session to say why I didn't do this. But enjoy your evening and thank you for joining us.
Our
Thank you
pleasure.
so much
Thank
for
you for
having
having us here. Bye.
And
Bye.
I'm now going to invite my co-host for the evening, our second session, Shilpi Singh. Shilpi, can we have you online? Shilpi is best described as a digital nomad. Along with her husband, she's been traveling from country to country. Shilpi, your camera's off. Yes. Shilpi is also an executive coach. She is co-founder of a boutique travel company called Unhotel, co-founder of a marketing company called the Studio 4, and a very dear friend. Shilpi is here to take us through the second half of our coffee session, which is with the Chawla family. Can I request Amit, Deepika, Lata ji, and Manohar ji to come on camera? Thank you, and thank you for joining us. I am going to now go offline, and Shilpi, over to you.
Thank you, Reba. It was really fun, and it was great fun to start the evening with the Ganeshas. Over in India, we always start something beautiful with Ganesh. So I think that was a brilliant start for the evening. And hi, Deepika. Hi, Amit. Hi, Uncle
Hi.
Auntie.
Hi.
So nice to see all of you together. I think you all in Amit and Deepika's office, which is so beautiful. And I can see how beautifully you've pinned coffee with parents behind you, Deepika. That's so lovely to see there. Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to be hosting this session along with all four of you. It's been a delight to know. So, viewers, I know the Chawlas for quite some time now. Spent a lot of time with Deepika and Amit. Been to their home. Have They're like the most gracious hosts, and it's wonderful to have you for something like National Parents Day, which I also didn't know exist till some time ago. And I think it's beautiful concept to have a National Parents Day. So welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us, Shilpi.
Thanks, Amit, for being here. And I'll quickly introduce all four of them before we move on to our interesting conversation. So Amit is a business clarity coach. He's mentored hundreds of people, especially a lot of entrepreneurs and startup founders. He's also written an Amazon best-selling book, The Clarity First. He's got 35 years of corporate leadership behind him. He's also a Josh Talk speaker. He's host of a podcast, Hey Business Leaders of Tomorrow. And he is one of the most helpful people I have known in my life. So, Amit, welcome here again.
Thank you.
And I will now introduce Deepika. So, Deepika and I think we know each other for more than a decade now. What is common between us is the passion. Now, there's a lot of things which we know we are common, but how we connected was about, our passion about women, women leadership, women owning their space, and it still connects us. But there are many, many other things which we are very, very passionate about. Deepika is vice president in one of the Fortune 100 company with 30 years of financial shared services and banking experience. As I already said that we connected on women leadership and everything which comes around it. She has been a passionate advocate for diversity. She's got a lovely mentoring program, Speak Up Lady, and she's also got an amazing book which says Now Speak Up Lady. So you can look up online for that. And Deepika, maybe you can share it on Facebook for viewers who've been seeing this. Perhaps they can get a peek into it. She's been supporting a lot of non-for-profit social impact organizations, and she is a TEDx speaker. She is somebody who's very enthusiastic about life. I think that's something which I love most about you, Deepika. There's so much energy, there's so much positivity that you bring around. I think that is about everything else that I spoke about you just now. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Shilpi, for all your kind introduction. I think it like you made my day.
Okay, moving on to Lata Auntie. She's a master in economics, a trained dancer, passionate painter, and you should follow Deepika and Amit on LinkedIn and Facebook to see her amazing work that they share of Lata Aunties. And with her whole home is full of various of her artistic creations. She continues to explore new art forms and techniques, and does a lot of exhibitions and podcasts as well. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And I think you've transferred a lot of your passion into Drishti as well. I can see, dancer, painter, artistic creations. I see it's going to another generation as well.
ये सब शुरू हुआ है बच्चों की वजह से। पहले तो
बच्चों की वजह से शुरू है।
पेंटिंग करती थी पर उसमें कभी आगे पैशन पूरा नहीं कर पाई। फिर मेरी ग्रैंड डॉटर ने शुरू कराया और उसको कंटिन्यू कराने में मेरे बच्चों का बहुत हाथ है। वो मुझे मोटिवेट करते रहते हैं, डिप्रेस नहीं रहने देते, तो बिजी रहती हूँ इस चीज में। तो मेरे को प्रॉब्लम को कुछ ना कुछ होती है, पर ये सब करने से मैं सब कुछ भूल जाती हूँ और उसी में मेरा ध्यान रहता है। इसमें कुछ भी अगर प्रॉब्लम आए तो बच्चे मेरा सॉल्व करते हैं, खासकर लड़कियां, बेटियां। 2 बेटी हैं मेरे, बेटे तो भगवान ने दिए, पर ये बेटियां जो मेरे को दिए हैं वो शायद किसी को मिलती हूँ। तो मेरे को कभी लड़कियों की ऐसी नहीं पड़ा कि मेरी लड़की नहीं है, ये उनसे भी ज्यादा है, मेरे बेटों से भी ज्यादा ये मेरा ध्यान रखती हैं दोनों। 2 बेटी हैं।
So beautiful, so nice, so nice. ये तो है, यहाँ पे मैं थोड़ा बायस्ड हो सकती हूँ। हम थोड़े बेटर हैं, in sharing our love.
इनकी वजह से मेरी लाइफ बिल्कुल, जो सोच हमारी थी बिल्कुल चेंज हो गई है। जैसे बैकग्राउंड से मैं आई थी, उसके बाद जब से स्पेशली दीपिका आई है, पहले हमारे घर में, दिल्ली की लड़की, तो उसने मेरा सारा माइंड चेंज कर दिया है, सोचने का तरीका बिल्कुल चेंज कर दिया है। आजकल जो भी बच्चे करते हैं उसको मैं एडजस्ट कर लेती हूँ, और वो सब इनसे ही सीखी हूँ कि जब लड़कियां बराबर का काम करती हैं तो लड़कों को क्यों इतनी इम्पोर्टेंस दी जाती है। वो भी बराबर सब कुछ काम करती हैं तो उनकी भी बराबर ये हक है कि उनको इतनी इम्पोर्टेंस दी जाए।
बिल्कुल आंटी, एंड आपने बहुत सही बोला, दिल्ली की लड़की। आई होप ये सब सुन रहे हैं, क्योंकि मैं बिहार से आती हूँ, और ग्रोइंग अप डेज में हम हमेशा सुनते थे कि दिल्ली की लड़कियां बहुत चालू होती है, लेकिन
चालू
दीपिका,
नहीं, चालू वर्ड
तो
नहीं।
अपने बेटों को दिल्ली की लड़कियों से बचा के रखना। पर आंटी बहुत अच्छी
और
बात कि आपने ये बोला
मैं
कि
तो
दिल्ली की
राजस्थान से
लड़की
आई
है,
थी।
और इतने सुंदर से आप सब एक साथ, हम साथ साथ है टाइप्स रहते
बिल्कुल
हैं,
सही
एंड आई विल
बात
कम टू दैट, but I just want to introduce uncle also so that he doesn't feel left out. I'll say that there is a bias here. So
है।
Manohar Lal
सारी
Chawla,
सारी पूरी
Amit and
सीक्रेट
Deepika,
से लड़कियों को पता होती है।
I know, I know. Manohar Lal Chawla, father of Amit, father-in-law of Deepika. He's a retired engineer, and he's also author of a very, very moving book, Five F's of My Life, a book detailing his experience during the Indo-Pak partition when he came from across the border, and the power of resilience and determination. So if you feel that you need to build your resilience quotient, if you feel that you need to build your determination quotient, this is a book to go to. You should pick up this book. It's very moving. It's very, very moving. And he was just sharing before we started the session about some of the things which he experienced, and I feel so privileged to even listen to his experiences, because that's made my day, Deepika. The amount of resilience which they have shown all through these years to be here where they are today, and to have such wonderful kids like you and Amit and the others in the family. So Amit, I know that your family is very fond of doing things together. Total hum saath saath hai chal raha hota hai. And this is happening despite the busy schedules, despite you having a very, very prolific career, despite Deepika having such a prolific career, despite her corporate profession. She's also doing Speak Up Lady, mentoring, volunteering her time in so many things. Um, how do you manage to support each other? How have you managed to together, stay so bonded, with all this happening around you?
Yeah, so Shilpi, what is happening with us and probably with all of us is we are all evolving. We are all changing and growing. And when we are growing, the evolution happens. Probably one of the things which happens is the learning and inspiration is contagious. It's very contagious. Like when my daughter is growing up and she was choosing her career, I was also choosing my different career. So I was evolving. I was no in the same boat, right? And 2017, I left my corporate career, became a coach. And when I became a coach, I realized I need to write a book. So I'm just giving you one story how this evolution
Yeah.
happens, this
Yeah.
inspiration catches on. So when I wrote the book in 2019, and the book launch happened in Pragati Maidan and the places, my parents were there. Papa, Mummy were there to see. पापा ने देखा कि यार अमित ने बुक लिख दी है, तो उन्होंने सोचा मैं भी लिख सकता हूँ और हमको बताया नहीं. And then COVID time, he started scribbling. So I wrote the book, The Clarity First. And
Yeah.
after, I think in 2020, December, he finished his book, which is called The 5 F's of My Life, which
Wow.
is his whole story. 5 F's are face, focus, faith, family, and friends. And this was also written because while he was scribbling and we found his scribbled notes, my nephew, who was 8-9 years of age, उसको मैंने बोला कि अच्छा दादू ने कुछ लिखा है, आप टाइप करना शुरू करो, लेट्स राइट अ बुक. तो उसने लैपटॉप उठाया, started typing, right? And then within 8-9 months, the book was launched during COVID
Wow.
time. Now after that was finished, then one day Papa said कि मैंने तो लिख दी, मम्मी को मैं ना एक कॉफी बुक गिफ्ट करना चाहता हूँ. मैंने कहा कौन सी बुक? कहते बिकॉज शी डज लॉट ऑफ पेंटिंग एंड drawing and craft. You can see that book there.
Yeah.
So we'll make this book, photograph, and then launch it. So it was done in 2022, and we called her mentors, mom's mentors who were like half the age at her home, and we just had a good party at home. So we launched her book. Then it caught on again when Deepika did her program called Speak Up Lady, and this thing came up. Okay, she should also write a book because हमने लिखी है. So she was left behind, and she cannot be left behind. So
No, not at all.
she wrote a book, and we launched that in which is called now Speak Up Lady. It's available on Amazon. It's about women professionals, how they can break the bias. It was launched last year in January. So the part I'm saying is all this thing is happening, this evolution is happening where one person learns, one person gets inspired, and it catches on. And that's what we have seen in our family happening unknowingly. We never told you learn this or you get inspired, but people just pick it up. It's like a
So this is
yes.
very beautiful, Amit. That something positive is being, it's catching up. See, a lot of place sometimes we feel कि एक को negative emotion आया, हमने उसको hold कर लिया, फिर से किसी कोई और negative. Here I see something positive happen and people not just celebrating it, but totally embracing it and then, evolving from there. I think that's something which is so beautiful. And as a family unit, if we can learn even 10% of it, I think, we would have such more beautiful relationship and bondings in our family. Um, I remember, especially Deepika, when I met you first time, it was in the mentoring walk, and you were sharing how your in-laws played such a supportive role in your career. Now, that is not something which, unfortunately, we hear so often in women's life. It's not bias, it's facts. And when Deepika said that, felt so much gratitude towards you, uncle, auntie, though we didn't know you at that point of time, but we felt so much gratitude. What a beautiful family, that somebody can come up and say it's the in-laws who supported her in her career, and she is today where she is with a lot of support from you. So Deepika, tell me, did you expect the support, and how did this support help you in your life?
So I can just start by saying I wouldn't be who I am if not for both of them. I've lived more. So I'm married for 31 years. I've been working for 31 years. And I've lived with them more than with my parents now, because I got married at 22 and a half. And all throughout, they have backed, they have motivated. We might have had our differences, thoughts, whatever. There might have been a journey where my full-time job would have looked like a challenge to my mother-in-law to say, a teacher's job is better, or a child. But slowly and slowly, she embraced what my job was doing for me, for the family. And I couldn't have worked, one, if my children were not safe. See, doing work for them is separate. There would be help at home. Safety is a very big thing when you step out as a mother.
Yeah.
I never had to fear that because both of them always were there to keep them safe. Values is what you bring your children. If you wouldn't be, right, you wouldn't be free of your mind to be, unless you are making sure that your children are of good values. Are they getting good attention? Those values came from them. When I got married and I came into this family, mom wouldn't even remember. But she said a very small sentence to me. She said, "You and I are not related by blood. Okay. Whatever you will put in, you will also get back. And how much you will put in will also come back." It left a very big mark to me that yes, it's not a blood relation, but it's a relation you are starting on where you want to live in, right? And she's been such a progressive person from the beginning. She has changed. I mean, when I was naive, 22 and a half, getting married, you can imagine coming in. But having somebody like her who's so progressive, who helped me to be the person. When we got newly married, mom and dad, at that time, I'm saying 31 years back, who says that, said you should have a separate setup in the same house. I was shocked. I cried. I fought with them. I told let me finish. I told my parents, they are not being nice to me. I was so naive. But given time for you to mature to understand what her meaning at that time, and she explained me and Amit was that being together would be better since you both are working to have a life of your own. So we live in the same house, we have 2 kitchens. She said, this will keep us permanently together. But if we live in the same house, same things, you have a life, you have your jobs. We don't want to restrict you, but we want to be with you. I don't think so. I heard anybody saying that progressively 30 years back
Yeah.
for somebody. And probably that's one of the reasons in 31 years we are together, because they both gave us our independent life. At the same time, all of us are together. It's just first, you've been to the home, right? Ground floor, first floor. And it's just been one home.
ऐसा है
Yeah,
कि
auntie wants to say
इनके लिए
something.
नहीं, हम अपना भी लाइफ जो थी इंडिपेंडेंट रहना चाहते हैं, जब तक रह सकते हैं। इनको भी पूरा
बिल्कुल।
स्पेस चाहिए, बच्चों को इनके लाइफ स्टाइल फर्क, सब कुछ फर्क
हाँ।
फर्क है। तो उसमें तो मैं तो सोचती हूँ, जब पर मेरे को ये ईगो नहीं है कि अगर कभी जरूरत पड़े तो इकट्ठे रहना पड़े, तो उसमें कोई ईगो नहीं है कि नहीं रहना है। पर जब तक रह सकते हो इंडिपेंडेंट, उनको भी रहने दो, खुद भी रहो। जब जरूरत होगी, वैसे जरा भी अगर ये ऊपर रहते हैं पर नीचे अगर हमें एक छींक भी आ जाती है तो ये नीचे होते हैं। इसे सब पता होता है कि मम्मी बाहर निकली हैं, नहीं निकली हैं, मतलब पूरा ध्यान हमारा रखते हैं। और इससे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए हमको, ग्रैंड
No,
चिल्ड्रन।
it's beautiful. So I see, if there's a lot of emotion and there's a lot of logic also in staying together. And I think, if we understand that both are part of staying together, I think that will decode a lot of challenges that we face to stay as a family, whether we are staying together under one roof or, हम अलग अलग भी रह के शायद एक दूसरे को इतना प्यार नहीं कर पाते। कोई जरूरी नहीं कि हम साथ रह रहे तभी हमारे डिफरेंसेस हो रहे, अलग अलग रह के भी साथ प्यार इतना नहीं कर पाते, इतना ट्रस्ट नहीं कर पाते एक दूसरे के साथ,
Yeah.
इतनी समझदारी नहीं दिखा सकते।
And also it's like what is talking about is it's like being independent and
Yeah.
dependent both.
Yeah, of
Independent
course.
in the terms of the normal days, it's all independent. We work no separate.
Yeah.
We take
जैसे
care of
अमित और
everything.
दीपिका
But when
यहाँ
there's a
पर,
problem, then we become
Yeah.
dependent on each other. So it's
अमित और
Yeah.
दीपिका यहाँ
independent,
होते हैं
independent both.
तो
हाँ।
मेरी ग्रैंड डॉटर कब आई है नहीं आई है हमें कोई मतलब नहीं होता, पर जब ये नहीं होते हैं तो ट्रैक रखती हूँ कि अभी घर आई है या नहीं आई है।
हाँ।
I get a call anywhere. She's 24. I may not need it, Shilpi, but even
Yeah.
today she will tell me, Drishti itne baje aayi hai. I may not
हाँ।
disturb her because she doesn't like me following up. But I know, because at home also I will know when she was walking, right?
Yeah.
Even as a child, when they used to go to school, if they missed a bus and at the bus stop, if they haven't reached, I would get a call in the office because children were supposed to give me a call every day at 2 o'clock once
Yeah.
they reach. But if for any reason they have not reached the bus stop, my mother or my father would call up. Now, that kind of safety, if you don't have, you can't grow. It gave me mental peace to follow my dreams, to do whatever you praised me, right? I can be very aspirational, I can be very everything. But if
Yeah.
you have two big arms, if my dad said now, always, my dad's not there now, but my dad said, अगर बच्चे भी पालने पड़े ना मुझे बुला लेना, जॉब मत छोड़ना. Same way they always said, you relax. If you are stressed, we will take care. What more do you
I
want?
think that's a very beautiful part today because though extreme ho rahe, I also hear a lot of young grandparents. You've just become a mother-in-law and perhaps you might become a grandparent in some time.
ऐसा है शिल्पी,
Young
जब ये
grandparents now,
बच्चे छोटे थे तो हमने इनको देखा, अब हम बड़े हो गए,
yeah.
ये हमें देख रहे
ये
हैं,
देख रहे बिल्कुल। तो
बराबर
बहुत
है,
सारे अभी
बैलेंस
जो
है।
यंग ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स है ना आंटी, वो ऐसा सोचते हैं कि बच्चों को देखना मतलब हम बच्चे की नैनी बन गए हैं, शायद इतना रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है, शायद हमें एज अ नैनी ट्रीट किया जाएगा। अब वो एक रिवर्स साइकोलॉजी भी वर्क कर रही है कि हम आ जाएंगे बट डोंट एक्सपेक्ट कि हम आके तुम्हारे बच्चों को संभालेंगे। तो ये इवन सेइंग सच थिंग्स आई फील I don't know how it impacts relationships between two generations. Uh, when
I want to add here, Shilpi. I also would want to tell the young grandparents or even our age, the grandparents are there to love the children, to keep them safe and secure. Don't ask them to work too much. They're not
Yep.
that age,
yeah.
right? Let them enjoy. I mean, I know my father-in-law has done so much in maths from childhood for my children, Abhinav and Drishti. Their maths is probably, Drishti is a major in maths. Probably my father-in-law has a bigger hand than anybody else because he would just sit, he would have those posters on the wall in his room, which would have all maps and all. And he would spend time asking capitals and countries and maths problems. Who would do that?
Yeah, we didn't do that.
बिल्कुल
So
तो
it was
अंकल
We
अभी आप
didn't do
मिस
that.
करते हैं बच्चों को बच्चे बड़े हो गए दृष्टि ने मैथ्स एज इन हर ग्रेजुएशन शी टुक मैथ्स आल्सो तो अब सब ने अपना अपना रास्ता पकड़ लिया डू यू मिस द किड्स एट होम
लड़ाई झगड़ा भी बहुत होता था हमारा,
हाँ,
अच्छा लड़ाई झगड़े भी होते थे
बहुत ज्यादा।
किस बारे में?
लेकिन घर पे ही रहता था वो,
हाँ
नॉट आउटसाइड। आउटसाइड वी आर वन।
घर में भी ऐसे है कि
डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन आर देयर।
थिंकिंग अलग अलग होती है ना, एक ही चीज
हाँ
को किसी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आप सोचते हो और हम दूसरे से, पर अल्टीमेटली सब कंप्रोमाइज हो जाता है और वो सॉल्व हो जाती है प्रॉब्लम।
मैं
ऐसा
इसी
कुछ
बात पे आ रही थी कि कोई ऐसी डिसीजन हो जहां सबका सलाह लेना और कब ऐसा टाइम आता है जब आपको लगता है कि हाँ बच्चों की सलाह लेनी चाहिए अब बच्चे इतने बड़े हो गए आप 3 जनरेशन हैं घर में यू नो हम हमेशा सोचते हैं ये बच्चे हैं शायद आप भी यही सोचते होंगे
हाँ।
दीपिका अमित के बारे में कि ये बच्चे हैं ये बच्चे हैं ऐसा अंकुल कौन सा वक्त आया जब आपको लगा कि हमें डिस्कस करना चाहिए कोई मेजर डिसीजन फैमिली की हो घर का हो फाइनेंस का हो कितना कंफर्ट फैक्टर था कि आपको क्यों ना आप ऐसी बातें अमित और दीपिका और अपने बाकी बच्चों के साथ कर सके
नहीं, वो सारी चीजें ठीक हैं, देयर आर 101 प्रॉब्लम्स आर देयर, लेकिन यहाँ पे नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे। विल डिस्कस इन द हाउस। घर में
हाँ
डिस्कस करेंगे, वहीं सेटल करेंगे, सब वहीं सेटल हो जाएगा। पब्लिकली नेवर।
पर घर पे अंकल जैसे मे बी अमित दीपिका यू कैन चिप इन कि घर पे व्हाट इज व्हाट
घर पे ही होगा
हाउ
जो।
डू यू फील यू नो बिकॉज आई ऑल्सो फील लॉट ऑफ फैमिलीज डोंट टॉक टू ईच अदर कि अच्छा ये डिस्कस करेंगे उनको बुरा
बात बात
लगेगा
तो
चाहे
बहुत
वो
अच्छी है,
फाइनेंस का
बहुत
मामला हो चाहे घर का मामला
So,
हो
so it would be that no, if there'll be a difference of opinion, there'll be conflicts which happens, and it's like a normal
जनरेशन
normal
गैप
family.
थोड़ा बहुत तो होता ही रहता है और थोड़ा बहुत होना भी चाहिए।
And Shilpi, I think I'll say that it's both ways. You, like Papa is saying, let me put it simply. I don't go out and crib about my mother-in-law didn't do this. I come back and tell her, आपने ये नहीं किया, मुझे बहुत बुरा लगा. And she may not say anything to me at that time, but next day she comes back and tells me कि दीपी ऐसा कर लेते हैं. If I didn't do something rightly, she'll come back and very sweetly tell me, वो ना ठीक नहीं हो रहा. Even when we were planning all the wedding and all, she would come and we would discuss each and every gift, whom to be given, what not to be given. Even if I was going overboard, my mom and dad would come back and settle and say, अच्छा. So वो एक environment है कि आप आके इनको बोल सकते हो.
So
डांट
the
नहीं पड़ेगी.
yeah, the
डांट
way it has worked, Shilpi, is like we were planning our son's wedding, and there was like
Yeah.
events planning what has to be done after what, and then
Yeah.
we asked, no, पापा मी से कि हम ये कर रहे हैं, तो पापा ने कुछ बोला कि no, ऐसा नहीं करके पहले हम ये करते हैं, फिर ये करते हैं, something he no mentioned, and which was not in line with our thought. But then when we looked back, I said कि हाँ पापा ठीक तो बोल रहे हैं. So and he left to us कि he suggested, and we took a decision. Yeah, what he's saying is right. Let's implement. So it is the discussion, inputs are taken, but decision is left to the person who's in charge to take a call and then move forward. So that's how we've been kind of working.
Coach Amit, now this is not a a very family question, but as a coach, and Deepika, you also mentor and coach. If you have to give insights or share insights as to how there can be more communication between two generations, और हम क्या सीख सकते हैं कि हम अपनी छोटी बड़ी बातें comfortably हमारे साथ हम बड़ों के साथ क्योंकि हम इस जनरेशन की वी हैड नीरजा एंड स्नेह Neeraja is our age and Sneha is much younger. They are our children. She's our children's age, right? वो एक डिफरेंट जनरेशन है हम अपनी जनरेशन की बात करें जहाँ हमारे पेरेंट्स 70s 80s में हैं और हम 50s में हैं how do we make this communication smooth so that even if we are not staying together we are in different cities somehow the communication is helping not to create stress, but create an environment of trust and love.
Yeah, I think more than the communication comes with many other factors which should be in place, and which you already kind of mentioned. A bit is about trust, right? It is about trusting the parents and the children that, they have grown and they are they're adults. They know what has to be done. The values they have already got. When they become adult, we can't teach them the values. They've already got it from wherever, right? So trust is very important, and the respect. Very, very important is giving respect to the other person, whether he or she is a teenager or 80 years old. It's everybody wants to be respected, right? So if you have this trust and respect, and be transparent, be open, don't hold on to yourself. These three things, trust, respect, and transparency becomes very important. That
Yeah,
leads
and Deepika doesn't want to be left behind, so we go back to
No,
her.
I don't want us to say it. Said a very nice thing. पापा आपको बताओ कि आप जो बोल रहे थे, ऐसे ही बात कर रहे थे हम थोड़ी देर पहले, वे पापा ने बोला, and I think the fourth thing is ego नहीं है, ego बिल्कुल नहीं है,
बहुत
और
important है.
पापा ने ये बोला कि हम आपको चीजें बताएंगे, अब आपको करनी है नहीं करनी है वो आपकी मर्जी है. पापा आप अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बता रहे थे ना ये बात बच्चों के लिए.
याद नहीं मेरे को.
अच्छा. So what I'll give you an example to what they said or they mean. They will tell you what they feel and they think. अब आप उसको follow करो या ना करो वो आपकी मर्जी है. They will not put a foot down. ये नहीं करोगे तो ऐसा हो जाएगा. There will be difference of opinion, and I'll give you a small. And another thing very great with mama papa is कि पापा की ego नहीं है. मम्मा की है कि मम्मा बहुत अपस्किल कर जाती है. अपस्किल करने के लिए शिल्पी उनको बताना पड़ता है. सो दृष्टि का पहला प्ले जो था वो ऑनलाइन प्ले था ऑन कंसेंशुअल सेक्स. वेरी डिफरेंट टॉपिक. अब हम सब लोग उस कोविड के टाइम था ऑनलाइन सुन रहे थे. मैंने मम्मी के कान पे लगाया. अमित फॉट विद मी एंड सेड ये क्या कर रही है. आई सेड सुनने देना. व्हाट्स द प्रॉब्लम. अगर यू आर प्राउड ऑफ योर डॉटर डूइंग द प्ले, let her listen. Be proud of what she can listen. Mummy was very disturbed. She spent the whole next day talking about it. And after that discussion, Shilpi, mom was so open on discussing with Rishti. So
That's so lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, she opens up to things and listens.
मेरे को तो ये यंग जो बच्चे हैं ना उन्हीं से सब इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है, और हमारे फ्रेंड्स जो हैं वो हमसे भी बड़े हैं, उनको कुछ नहीं पता होता कि आजकल क्या होता है, क्या लिविंग टुगेदर क्या होता है. ये मुझे सब पता है. वो इसलिए पता है क्योंकि मैं बच्चों से बात करती हूँ और मुझे सब कुछ वो फैक्ट बताते हैं कि क्या होता है. तो ठीक है, जैसी लाइफ है ठीक है, वो उनकी अपनी लाइफ है.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. मेरे पास तो इतना लिस्ट था क्वेश्चन का आंटी, मगर we already at 5:03 और हमारा लाइव 4 से 5 था, and our audience perhaps have now would be wanting to go because they would have blocked the time. But I think this definitely requires another session जहां हम थोड़ी और बातें करें और थोड़ा और इसको decode करें कि कैसे different generations can be there for each other, can love each other, and we will have more elderly population in India, as from business perspective also, Amit, we know that there are more elderly population that we will be having in future times. So, I think it's very important for our generation also to understand how do we plan our growing older, हमारे में क्या different होगा, हम अपने बच्चों के साथ कैसे interact करेंगे. We also would, perhaps some people might have 1 kid, 2 kids, no kid. So it's time for us also to start thinking कि हम अपनी old age कैसे plan करें और क्या सीखें. हम अपने elderly से क्या सीखें, क्या उन्होंने सही किया, हम उसमें से क्या सीखें, क्या वो better कर सकते थे, हम उसमें से क्या सीखें. I think that would be brilliant, and maybe we can meet again to have another session on this. But all of you have a great Parents' Day on 28th of July. हमारी तरफ से and from Elders India, happy Parents' Day to all of you. And thank you so much once again for being here, for being present, for blocking the time, for ensuring कि आप फरीदाबाद से गुड़गांव आए हैं अमित के ऑफिस में to do this session that talks a lot about how you pay forward to every little cause in society. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shilpi.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.